Hello, it is Friday, March 17th, 2023 at 12:23 p.m. Eastern Time, USA. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. St. Patrick's Day, celebrating here. Hi, Zelda. Zelda's joining us. Might see her in the background. So just another note on the stipend, right? That I'm advocating for independent journalists in the United States as a seed program, as a feeder program for a state-sponsored, state-funded, or state-run media system. We're not saying we're going to take away people's freedom of speech and only the government is allowed to express freedom of speech. Everybody has that guaranteed in the Constitution. We're not saying you can't have private media companies. We're just saying we're going to only get as large as the fourth largest private media company or publicly traded media company. Anyhow, that's a proposal that's many years down the line if it ever gets off the ground, which it probably won't. For now, why not pay independent journalists using podcasts, using the internet, using their private computers? Why not pay them? Reward them for speaking truth to power in every regard. And so the thing I want to say about the stipend, when I first went on Social Security Disability, they paid me several months of back pay. I got a check in the mail of my back pay, and then they started loading my debit card that I got from the government that I can withdraw cash from. That back pay equaled $6,660 some dollars of back pay that came in a check. The check was printed from the Treasury Department, so I know they can still print those checks. They have the template in the computer system. It says Mitch Miller, so on and so forth. I believe in the supercomputers. I believe in the intelligence of the government working in mysterious ways even when they're not totally aware of it. And I believe the Social Security Administration issued this $6,600 and some dollar check to show me what I should be getting paid per month, what my value is to the federal government in monthly payments. So what I should be getting paid per month is over $6,000 a month. I believe that's what they were showing me. Now, it's delusional. There was a formula that figured out my back pay, but it was kind of a random number, so I thought maybe that's what I should be getting paid per month. I even made an argument that perhaps the computer system would glitch and send me one of those checks every month, but that never happened. I called it the glitch for Twitchy Mitch. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to say about the stipend. I'm going to get into this nonprofit, but before that, I want to talk about the military, but not so much the military. Private business, corporations. These corporations in the United States, they operate with the same level of secrecy as the military. Why do we allow that to happen? Why don't we require businesses to be more transparent or to be totally transparent? We only require them to file financial records every year and adhere to government guidelines, have inspectors and things like that. But those inspectors don't have a platform to say these people are screwing up. They have to just send it up the chain of command, and it's not made public. So why do we allow corporations to operate with the same level of secrecy as the United States military, or if in any other nation as your military? The military is looking out for national security and defense. These corporations are looking out for profit for the most wealthy people in the country. And they may argue that they need strategy and stuff like that, but if you level the playing field and everybody's transparent, then they'll develop their own strategies on how to do that, and consumers will be informed and can make informed decisions with their wallets. So again, it's not the consumer's fault in the United States, so it is the way it is. In a way it is if they advocated more for transparency, but now you have somebody advocating for that, so we'll see how that catches on. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I put out a set of chairs on Facebook that I was given by an EPA person that worked for the EPA. I said member in there, and I'll get back to that. I don't know if it was state or federal. He lived in Fox Chapel, so it was probably federal because that's high dollar houses. He gave me this set of wrought iron chairs, a table. I'm saving one of the chairs, keeping one of the chairs on the table. I'm giving away the other 4 chairs. And the thing I'm trying to bring forward with this, I refer to him as a member, but most people would refer to someone that works for the EPA as an EPA employee or manager or whatever. Why is it that the CIA has members? Or are they all employees and agents? Or are there members that are CEOs and executives within corporations that are allowed to be members of that agency? What are the differences between the agencies? I don't understand. The EPA is tasked with enforcing environmental law. They're a law enforcement agency. They're tasked with enforcing a law. The CIA, what laws are they tasked with enforcing? UN resolutions? What kind of a law enforcement agency is that agency? Right? What law do they have to adhere to? Is there any guidelines? So I want to think if the government and the intelligence agencies and the NSA and Homeland are protecting the computer systems, the privacy of police officers, FBI agents, CIA agents, NSA agents, all these law enforcement agencies, do they protect the identities and and all the computer networks and stuff that they use to the same degree for the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA? Is that the same? Do you protect those agents to the same degree and level that you protect someone that runs around with a gun enforcing a bunch of laws that should have never been allowed? They should have been written. They should not be enforced in the way they are because we cannot handle giving everybody a right to trial by jury. And it's that simple. You wouldn't have big government if you had the right to trial by jury. So do you protect EPA agents to the same degree? That's my question. That's what I'm putting out there by putting the Facebook out there. That and the idea that I have worked for a federal agent in the past. They did write me a check. It's possible for you to reach out to me and fund me. You could buy a couple paintings in Seattle. That would fund my project to rent a car and drive to San Diego and buy a plane ticket back to Pittsburgh. Right? It's easy for me to throw a couple of those vinyl record paintings in my luggage and bring them out to Seattle if you reached out to me. All right. Before I get into the nonprofit, I want to talk about another potential idea I have for employment I could do. A job I could do. So I reached out to the Pennsylvania government about inspecting and documenting their vehicles and how hackable their private and fleet vehicles are. Making a database, working with an NSA agent, some kind of hacker agent that can tell us how hackable the cars are. I put this out in the public. I put this out on my podcast. What I propose is that we could work with the Pennsylvania State Troopers. Right? And I'm appealing to Governor Shapiro. I'm going to appeal again in a few minutes. But we could work with the Pennsylvania State Troopers. We could look at their private vehicles and how hackable those vehicles are. Right? So what I'm saying is I could be hired by the Pennsylvania State Troopers. a pilot program. You're about to hire 380 new officers. A pilot program. You waive me my requirement to go to the state trooper training program because I'm not allowed to own a gun or anything. You waive that requirement, but you put me through all kinds of mental health de-escalation training. Right? I have a related area in psychology. You put me through the mental health de-escalation training. There's a pilot program up in Canada, I think it's Toronto, that are doing it with the police force in the city. We do this de-escalation training. Let me put my own flair on it. Hey, you might be wirelessly sensitive. I could approach people. So what I'm saying is I could go around to each county, to each Pennsylvania State Trooper substation. I could work for a week there. I could work mostly documenting the private vehicles of those people, but I could ride around with a Pennsylvania State Trooper, and if they get a call of a mental health crisis, I could be first on the scene. I could go in, and I could approach it like that. Hey, I have schizoaffective disorder. I've been through the system. Just calm down. I know what's going on. You know, you might be wirelessly sensitive. You might need medication. There's all kind. You know, I'll develop a strategy to de-escalate. So it's a pilot program to de-escalate mental health crisis. To have a civilian trained person come out and de-escalate mental health situations. And that program is going to grow throughout the country. That's what the Defund the Police movement is mainly about, is let's reallocate funds from the police to pay for these types of programs. And I feel like if police understood that, they would be about it too, because they come into a lot of crazy situations dealing with mentally ill people. So that's my suggestion there. You could pay me a Pennsylvania State Trooper salary to ride around and to document the vehicles, and I could do that for a year. But we're focused on the farm, right? We want to do the farm, and I'll get into that later. But I'm going to talk about this nonprofit. I'm appealing to Governor Shapiro. Please pardon me, exempt or erase my criminal record, because I want to be able to work with high school age students on a nonprofit idea I have that we can start in Venango. It spurred from talking to the two of the existing county commissioners of Venango County, Sam Breen, Chip Abramovic. I'm happy to do a wrestling match for either of them or the Pistol Duel sub-in, because they don't look like they're much of wrestlers. And also Ken Bryan. They said they're going around to these borough meetings. There's 13, 14 boroughs or municipalities in Venango County. They're going around to the meetings now that it's election season, but they stopped during COVID and they felt kind of bad. Now that it looks kind of bad that they're just now coming around. So my thought was, what if we covered these borough meetings? They're usually just an hour once a month, I think. It might be once a week. What if we reached out to local high schools, and as part of a civics program, a civic class, a social studies class about democracy, we work with the AV Club, the Audio Visual Video Club, and we develop a program whereby students get equipment, they go out, they cover these borough meetings on video, they come back, and during their class, the Audio Video Club or the civics class, they watch the video that they have editing software as well. They can chop it down into 10-minute segments or whatever as part of their class, and then the class can vote on 10 minutes of each meeting that they want the county commissioners to see. So they compile that from the 13. So what's that? 130 minutes worth of video that the commissioners can watch every month that touches on issues of the different boroughs, right? So we take that even further. We do it statewide. We do a governor series once a month, and basically we start a platform, an online platform where students can vote. We expand from just having class hand votes to a system where students from 16 and older, because they're affected by road laws, they're driving, 16 and older can vote in direct democracy, can vote on the video, and they vote, each county gets a vote on 10 minutes from each county. There's 50 some counties in Pennsylvania. That's 5, 6, 7 hours of compiled video. They can also edit it on the platform. And so it would be a nonprofit that facilitates this program. Basically, we can advertise on it using local businesses. They can advertise on the borough meetings. We'll edit that in. We'll start by posting it to YouTube, covering it on YouTube. Franklin High School already has a YouTube channel for all their sports teams. So local businesses can donate to have an ad put on there. The ads will be simple, like I proposed on my podcast. Here's the product, here's what we sell, please utilize our business. Right? Simple advertising. All money raised through advertising goes to buying equipment for the students. Again, it's a nonprofit, all volunteer. Hopefully we have a volunteer board. I'm happy to work with the students if I'm cleared for it. Equipment for the students, computers, cameras, and then any other money will go towards developing our own streaming platform. This is the precursor for the state-run media program. We have a streaming platform for local borough meetings and local sports and stuff like that. So we develop our own streaming platform so YouTube isn't advertising on our borough meetings, whatever they may generate. And then any additional funds after this gets established will go towards expanding fiber optic cable lines within the county, within the community, to other houses. So we'll expand the internet. Instead of doing broadband, this is a system and a program to expand using local business money to expand internet to more and more houses throughout the county, and it'll grow and continue to grow. So that's my proposal to Josh Shapiro, Governor Shapiro. You could watch 5 or 6 hours a month of a compilation of borough meetings, student-directed, student-driven. So it's high school students are driving the information you get, but they're the ones more likely to believe in direct democracy, to believe in democracy, and it gets them involved in the voting process and how we can evolve our government to direct democracy. So if the adults want to put forward, and they're the ones out there capturing the videos, they're taking an hour out of their month to go capture the video. They have a lot of free time. That's why I think this will work. But they're capturing the video, so it's technically theirs, so they should be able to decide what gets seen by the county commissioners, what gets seen by the governor, so on and so forth. If the adults want to invest in a program like this, then they can. They could have direct democracy. They're not acting to put forward direct democracy. They're too busy with their high-powered jobs or whatever other BS they're saying. So let's let the kids collaborate, vote, and the other part of the voting platform, they can run their student council and their student government meetings on this platform and vote through direct democracy on that. So it's a direct democracy voting platform. But at first it just starts with YouTube videos and kids in the classroom voting on what they want their county commissioners to see. So I think it's a good nonprofit that I can work on from Venango County, from the farm, and I'm going to try to do it. If I can't, I'm going to wait to see if Ken gets elected. Sorry, this froze. I'm waiting to see if Ken gets elected before I propose it to the county commissioners to see if they can allocate funds and help me get it off the ground. So that won't be till November, but it's a good nonprofit idea. If Shapiro wants to take the initiative and reach out and do this and expunge my record so that I can work with these students. There's Zelda. Zelda, say hi. She approves of the program. Anyhow, that's the nonprofit I wanted to talk about. I meant to talk about it on the last one, but I got a little long-winded. Join me later today when I talk about a few other issues, and then we'll have to wait till next week to see if I come up with anything else to talk about. Thanks for watching. I'll wait to see if the state troopers hire me, and wait to see if I get a stipend. But I won't hold my breath because I know the powers that be don't like freedom of speech, right? You pay me to express freedom of speech, at least within the borders of the United States, or at least addressing United States corporations and United States companies. So no matter what I say, it's freedom of speech, right? And you're trusting me not to go off the deep end too much or go off my medication. And you could always revoke the stipend if I engaged in something too controversial, I guess. But until then, you could pay me the stipend. Thanks for watching.